This is The Blockchain Show. The Blockchain Show is a weekly podcast that demystifies and promotes widespread adoption of cryptocurrencies and distributed ledger technology. You're listening to episode number 12, covering blockchain and cryptocurrency news for the week of July 10th through 16th. This week, Sarah, Steve, and I will discuss the Ethereum Fork decision, MetaMask, the credit card security breach at Wendy's, and the military coup in Turkey. For links to articles referenced in our show, please visit theblockchainshow.com.
We have, preconceived notions of what money is, and we use the dollar, and that's what we know money as. And this changes that. When, you're first introduced to this space, you may have, you talk about it and you realize, well, I don't even know what money is really, because your notions of it really aren't like Federal Reserve and all sorts of just like mumbo jumbo that doesn't really have any bearing on it. I mean, we say like, governments have to create money. Well, that doesn't make any sense. They do a poor job of it, typically, even though, we do have a pretty good stable currency. It goes down in value every year by design, but it's fairly stable.
That's designed?
It's designed.
You continue to print more of it, that will happen, right?
Yeah, it's an inflationary currency. The masterminds believe that it is a small amount. You don't have many choices. You can either make a currency, inflationary or deflationary, going up in value or going down in value. And if it's going up in value, then you can't really use it to give out loans, or it becomes incredibly difficult to do that. So if I loan you, $100, but now that $100 is worth more in the future, the interest is already baked in, so I might end up only owing you $98 back. Because now the $98 is worth, more than the $100 was. So if you build it the other way and have a deflationary currency, you loan $100 and, and you have to pay it back in a year. In a year, that $100 really only has $5 worth of purchasing power, but you have to pay back $107 worth. Mm-hmm. So the inflation is baked in there by design, so it goes down and down in value every year because that's what people feel is good.
We should really try to get someone in the financial sector on the show.
Yeah, we're going guestless tonight, so going old school.
I think we should also have a funeral for the bits.
I think that I like the idea of incorporating them throughout the whole show. I think that hearing it all at once in the beginning can frighten off a lot of people. That's my guess.
Yeah, should we bring the bits back, or should we?
Maybe we can ask our audience.
I don't know. What do you think, people?
Does anybody know anything about the Flex Party and what actually happened with that? That's another. It's a little thing that we should follow up on. That Australian friend.
Yeah, fell completely off my radar.
Did it for real?
Yeah, there's so much going on week in and week out. There's just just way too much to keep up with. The Flex Party, I have no idea.
I saw another neat video about it that rejuvenated my love and passion for the whole notion of Flex Party. Once again, it had a little bit where you could see exactly how clear and crystal clear and simple it is to vote on your app on your iPhone on issues. Oh, yeah, and then it also kind of broke it down because it was a really neat video talking about how we can now let go of and evolve past the two-party system, which really is not benefiting the majority of people. That sort of divisive black and white, the other type of which serves a lot of people really well because it keeps things in the dark. It keeps things black or white. It keeps things, controllable. And this particular little video had a breakdown of how this sort of new system, it is not even just like my balls to the wall revolution that I always want. This is sort of a nice, organic little step in the right direction of how you can vote your conscience. You can vote the things that you actually want. And then it shows you how having multiple parties in there, how then the votes get filtered down so that it all goes to the appropriate place, and it isn't just like you're throwing your vote away if you vote for a third party. It was very fascinating. I wish I could get it up right now.
I'm at their site right now. I haven't heard anything from them lately. With anything like this, it takes a little while for it to catch on sometimes.
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
It doesn't have, augmented reality of little creatures, so...
What?
It doesn't have... It's not an augmented reality game.
Oh.
You don't know Pokemon Go?
Okay, yes. Now I get it now.
Wish I had time for that. It's like everywhere. It blew up. Like everyone at work, while I'm walking to work.
Really?
It's weird.
Maybe they should make it that easy to vote, Put your votes in an augmented reality and you can like throw a ball at it.
That sounds fun. Yeah, I like it.
If you want to vote yes, you swipe a Pokeball to it.
Yeah.
They might be making they might make it a little too easy. You gotta, have a way to... Anyways.
So then what else does the Reddit world say about what's been happening in...
I don't just get my news from Reddit.
You're diverse. But see, I do remember this conversation now, but...
yeah. I don't know why I find it so like... I don't know. It's... Are we here just to read from Reddit or what?
No, not at all. But I'm curious as to... this could just be my world, but I think it seems that as time goes on, things do reveal themselves to be... People are thinking a lot more about how they get their information, I think. At least the people around me. And it's really... I think that it seems like it has taken a kind of a long time for people to come to the place where we truly see the power of the internet and how we receive our information. And I don't really know Reddit, and I don't exactly know how that works, but I guess what I keep wondering is like, is there a blockchain? I don't know. I mean, I know that there are podcasts like us, but is it big enough now where there are publications and... I don't even... Sure. I'm thinking old school, probably.
I get a lot of my information from podcasts as well. I do, have to browse Reddit. Reddit's a tough one because there's a lot of noise on Reddit. There's a lot of, there can be some infighting and, there's drama. It's... You can if you want to, I was listening to Andreas on the Bitcoin podcast the other day, and he was talking about like if you want to turn Bitcoin, your endeavors in Bitcoin into like this soap opera, there's enough drama on Reddit. Just you can do that if you want to. You can go to Reddit and treat Bitcoin as if it's like a soap opera and
you
get
word
involved
it the
in the
right
drama.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's, and so you have to like sift through the crap, and there's a lot of crap there. But I mean, Facebook, there's
a lot of crap.
A lot of crap that you have to sift through. What other sources of information like?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, things don't seem to be the way they used to be, and I wondered, there's no, so you don't print things anymore, so I guess there's no, like, blockchain Bitcoin newspaper, obviously. It's all going to be on the internet.
There's Bitcoin Magazine, I guess. I don't know. I
feel like an actual publication that's a magazine.
Yeah, the editor of it was Vitalik.
Was what?
Vitalik.
Oh, this is a familiar sound from this show. Vitalik.
The founder of Ethereum.
Oh yeah,
That's right.
Okay, sorry. It's all new to me. It's like learning a new language. I forget stuff. Sorry.
You forget each week.
Yes,
but I feel like, where do you get your information from? Like the internet, like everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, is there any other way to get information nowadays?
Yeah, right. I'm glad to hear that. I don't know how much my bubble is different from anybody else's bubble or echo chamber or whatever, because that's what it seems like to me. I think it used to be where people would be like, you can't like believe what you learn on the internet. Well, now it's like you laugh at people who are like, you can't believe what you see on CNN. That's crazy.
But yes, that's where you get misinformation, is the television.
Yeah. And it seems like that's really become pretty clear. Like, I'm not sure. I maybe, like I said, I don't know if it's just my bubble, and I don't know if they're really not talking about it that much on. But I like what they were saying last week. We were talking about how it is like they do talk about it on CNN. I wouldn't know that since I don't watch CNN, but
yeah, I mean they do. They mention Bitcoin on occasion. They're typically, when there's a price spike or something happens, and it's becoming more and more mainstream. When it first came out, you could only find negative press about it, on mainstream television. Now it's getting a little more fair and balanced. But I wouldn't. It's not anything on the TV. By the time it gets filtered through the editors and everybody else that's involved in it, it's old news. I mean,
and it's crap.
It's old news, and it's typically not very well done. So you kind of have to be your own sleuth, and for every good bit of information on the internet, there's 10 lousy bits of information as well. So you can't just like believe everything you read. You got to have a sense of how to sift out, the noise from the signal, and got to get good at it.
I wonder, like you will often say that, like I remember you saying more than once that could you imagine actually trusting what you read on the internet? Actually, just trusting this interaction, this exchange that you have with somebody on the other side of the world you don't even know, and you can trust this. So I wonder how that will evolve. I mean, things go so quickly now. I wonder how our kids are going to be getting their information. Does that mean that the way that blockchain is structured, that like news is probably something that's going to be revolutionized too? I mean, that seems like how do you can't really quantify that as something that's true or not. I mean, to some degree, things are true to a person and untrue to another person. But
I guess I can go two different ways with that. We can talk about what prediction markets would benefit as the first way, and the second way would be you can always determine what existed or what people believed at a certain point in time. So we'll go back to the first one. If you were to look at like a prediction market, there's Augur and Gnosis, and there's probably two or three other ones that there's at least one other one that I'm not forgetting the name, but there's probably more. And you can, with a prediction market, you invite people to weigh in on one side or the other of an event that's going to happen. And when you ask people to wager money on these type of events, the predictions become much more accurate than, say, a talking head on a news television who wants to get ratings. These people aren't paid by giving out accurate assessments of the state of affairs. They're paid by ratings. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't lead you to a worldview that's is based in accuracy. With what the blockchain can do is now you have irrefutable proof of what somebody thought was going to happen before it happened. You can filter out those people who are good at predicting what's going to happen in the future, and then you can tailor your filter of who you want to listen to based off of whether what they predicted would come true actually did come true. So you can find those people who aren't just trying to increase ratings, but they're actually trying to give you an accurate sense of the state of affairs of the world.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Augur is amazing. Everybody's really excited about that. A lot of people are. I mean, it was one of the things that when Eric Voorhees was on the show, he mentioned. It's
the one he was most interested in.
It's a very interesting thing, and it leads to so much more when people are rewarded by being accurate. The news you will get from them versus when people are rewarded by ratings.
Part of decentralization, I would imagine, as well. I mean, like, if it really does come down to that individual, that makes so much sense. You know, you get rewarded monetarily. Like, people don't want to mess with that. Their money doesn't depend on somebody else's opinion, the message that they're delivering. That's just brilliant. Every week there's something new and exciting. Hey, but before I forget, tell me that Ether guy's name again.
Vitalik or Vitalik.
Is that his, like, DJ name?
I think he's Russian.
Oh, all right.
Vitalik Buterin or something.
Okay, that definitely sounds Russian.
With a Russian accent. But with the blockchain, so you have an immutable ledger. So if you put information in the blockchain, you can know that information existed at that time. Like, you can't fake it. You can't modify the blockchain. You can't undo it. You can't retroactively make it look as if the blockchain had a different state. Mm-hmm. So if you wanted to, look back in the past at what was what existed at that time, the blockchain would provide indisputable proof of that record.
Mm-hmm. Chiseled in stone. Binary stone.
Basically, yes.
We had one listen in Kansas.
Oh, we got one finally?
Total.
Yeah. Is it a relative?
Do we know who that was?
It's probably not.
It was probably your dad
probably
when he
not
was there.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
$1 million.
Thanks, Dad.
That's pretty funny. Estonia, that's cool. Estonians are neat.
Estonia, India, Japan.
City of London.
South Korea.
The whole globe.
New Zealand.
What's
Australia.
the places that a lot of Africa doesn't listen to us?
Mostly California, US, Canada, UK, Germany.
English-speaking places. So you guys want to know about the Ethereum hard fork that's going to happen?
Yeah, what's going on?
Yes.
Where are we at on what a fork is, and is it worth explaining that stuff?
Oh my gosh.
Does it matter?
I don't know. Does it?
Don't try.
I know that it's
don't try to explain it to Sarah.
Yeah, I know. I did.
Sarah, go back 2 episodes. Listen again.
I'll just listen over and over again, and I remember it. Just I listened to it again.
How
and I
about
was
you
still
just tell
Damn.
us what's going on, Steve?
Yeah, just forget it. I know that there's a big controversy. Who knows why? Hopefully, soon enough, they'll iron that crap out so that I don't have to figure it out.
Yeah, maybe I'll try again with a fork. So a fork, in this particular case, a blockchain fork. At a moment in time, there exists 2 different competing versions of the record.
Let's just start with that. Why? Why would that be? That seems bizarre to start with.
That seems
like we're
bizarre.
starting from Bizarro World. Why does that exist? Why is there an opposite to begin with?
So let's say that I buy a coffee, Ethan buys a bagel, and you buy a coffee, bagel, and a sandwich. You buy a sandwich, right? Mm-hmm. And we're all, in this analogy, we're all Bitcoin miners. I get information from Ethan that he bought, what did he buy, a bagel? And I write in my ledger that I bought a coffee and he bought a bagel. okay, and I put that in the blockchain. Ethan knows that he bought a bagel, and he also gets information that you bought a sandwich. And so he puts that in the blockchain. Now there's two different competing versions of reality. Does that make sense?
Okay. All right. Thanks.
So
yes.
it's just like the way information comes in sometimes.
Okay.
So the information is different. And
because of different sources, I get it. All right. That makes sense.
We both have a valid representation of the world. It's just that it hasn't reconciled yet. One of these versions of reality will eventually win out over the other, and it'll be in a time all the transactions will get entered in the blockchain. Is just how they get entered. So, but with like a hard fork, there's a software change where, there's a software change where the fork is caused by the software. When in our example, I put down like a rating as well. I say, this coffee was excellent. Older software wouldn't accept that extra information. So now there's two competing versions, one with me buying a coffee and one with me buying a coffee and saying it was excellent. Okay. So now there's two forks. One has extra information and one has less information. So there's two competing versions of reality. Okay. So that's all a fork is. It's just, the chain has two competing versions of reality. In Ethereum, what they want to do is they want to roll back the code that's in the DAO that the exploiter used to steal what at the time was around 50 million. And it looks like it's going to go through. It's going to go through on the 20th of July, or depending on where you're at, the 19th of July. And there are three exchanges that have said that they're going to go through with the hard fork. They're going to halt Ethereum withdrawals until one chain or the other chain wins. So there's going to be two chains. One chain with the DOA, with the DAO theft intact, so still there, controlled by the exploiter.
In that parallel universe?
Well, I mean, it's all in the same universe. It's just a different chain. But let's just say a parallel universe, right? And then the other chain where all the funds from the DAO are in a refund DAO.
Wonderful place.
It's safe. It's all safe and sound, ready for people to withdraw. And it looks like it's going to go through. I don't expect there to be huge issues this time. We've kind of always hinted at that this drama wasn't going to be done for some time, all the previous times. But I think this is going to, solve that issue.
Interesting. All right.
Which I get it. I think is fantastic.
Yeah. Who are the people that are making that choice?
Can you be a little more specific?
Well, I mean, who's the authority when it comes to this? Like, okay, so you got a hard fork and whatever. You got a fork in the road. Yep. There's two different realities. Who makes the call on what becomes like you said? So there was somewhere along the line you said they decided that they are going to roll back. So who's they?
In this particular case, they is the Ethereum community, which includes Ethereum exchanges, so businesses that allow you to exchange Ethereum for other cryptocurrencies and other real currencies. Not real, real is the wrong word. Other
I'm glad you do it too.
Fiat currencies.
Uh-huh.
Then there's the miners, so people who are verifying transactions on the Ethereum network. There's the developers, the people who write the Ethereum code. There's the Ethereum users, so anytime you send Ethereum, you use a client. And so what happens is that all of these different things get together and kind of have like a de facto democracy vote. And because there's such strong incentives to be on the chain that's going to win out, everybody moves pretty quickly to that chain that people think is going to win.
It's pretty clever. Does that mean, this is a little bit off the topic, but does that mean that if you are in Russia, you're more likely to use Ethereum than any other cryptocurrency?
Why?
Because DJ, what's his name again?
Lance Rock?
No,
DJ Paris Hilton, I suppose.
What's the guy's name who created Ethereum?
Dead Mouse.
Dead Mouse?
Yeah.
What?
That's his name.
What?
The guy who wears the mouse head?
What did I walk into?
Voltaic?
Yeah.
Voltaire?
Voldemort.
Voltaic?
Volvic.
He goes by a little Buterin.
This is a Russian guy we're talking about.
Vitalik.
We could be taking our lives into our hands here. Mocking.
From the future.
Yeah. DJ Vladivik. What is his name?
Who are you two? I don't even know.
The Ethereum guy whose name I can never remember.
Why is he a DJ?
Oh, just because at first I thought his name was like, he was trying to be cool with it. Like Wild Style or something.
Wild Stallion?
No, his name is something that sounds like a DJ name. Like.
Why don't you just call him V?
All right, that's what I'm going to call him. DJ V Rock from Russia, Mother Russia.
Yeah, I don't think the fact that he is of Russian descent
means anything
to Russians. They probably use Bitcoin the most because it's, the most used currency worldwide right now, cryptocurrency. So
I wonder how much I wonder how popular it is in Russia.
It's pretty popular. I think it's outlawed.
What?
Or at least.
Really?
Yeah. It's almost every government has kind of said that use at your own risk. At this point. I don't know what Russia's stance is on it, actually.
I want to look that up now. I'm curious to know.
Yeah, it looks like it was banned, but there's a political party accepting it. It's in, the legal status of Bitcoin is in flux, I suppose. There are people who have money in Russia that are trying to put it into Bitcoin, I imagine.
Huh.
The Bitcoin has performed much better than the ruble.
It seems like it seems to me like that would just. I know. I talked about this before in terms of Poland, but it seems like it would really lend well to the Slavic mentality.
What's the Slavic mentality?
I don't think that there is one, and I'll probably get in trouble for saying this stuff. But I mean, the ones that I know, the Slavs the real Slavs that I know, they have this sort of like. Just sort of approach to life that's very like whatever works kind of a thing.
Pragmatic and cold.
That's not what I was thinking actually. I think they're quite. I wouldn't say cold, although I suppose that's
pragmatic and boisterous.
Yeah, they definitely have some fire in them. They got passion. They got plenty of passion.
Did I ever tell you, are you still talking about Russians?
Yes.
The time I was drinking with Russians in Kyrgyzstan, and we got on the
topic
formidable. Of 9/11, and like unanimously, like it was the Jews.
What?
Oh man.
It's like, oh, really?
I still haven't understood this 28-page thing, but that's another story.
Haven't even heard of it.
Do you know what I'm talking about, Steve?
Fill me in.
Oh, I wish I could. Very little I know is that some 20 some number of pages came out that from whence I know not. I don't know what it is about these that make them legit, because to me it seems like old news. I mean, that's another thing. I don't know if I'm like, half the time when I speak my truth, to me it's like yeah, this is my truth. And then I get bombarded with people that say I'm dumb. But, let's see, I've already lost what my train of thought was. What the hell was I talking about? Oh, the 28 pages that there's like evidence in these pages that 9/11 was aided by the FBI, which is like, yeah.
Are you saying?
Yeah.
Are you saying Alex Jones was right?
I don't know much about Alex
inside
Jones.
job.
But yeah, I'm saying yeah. And I also don't think that Kennedy was shot by a guy.
Black helicopters.
So that's probably not blockchain material. I was just curious because I really don't know.
Maybe I should just title this one "Not Worth Your Time."
No.
See if anyone listens.
Now that is something that I thought was funny. That like people will, speaking of opinions and wading through shit on Facebook or wherever else that is just highly opinionated, they would do these sort of little studies. So like NPR, I think, did one where they'd say, the title of something, have a picture, look like a legit article, picture of a book, and the title is Americans Don't Read Anymore. And if you were to click on it to read the article, you would find there's nothing there. So everybody that weighed in with a comment was just weighing in with a comment about the title and didn't read anything. And there was all these impassioned, all these people that have the answers to the universe. It's because of this and that.
And such.
And they didn't read it.
They read the
Funny,
title.
Right? Yeah. When you're reading, are you gonna get pissed at me if I ask about your sources?
I just
No, this is not entirely serious. When you are reading information on breaking news in the blockchain world, do you have to scroll past chicks' boobs and drunk women in compromising positions and cross sections of male genitalia?
Typically not.
That's good to know. That's probably
that's
good
why
sign.
that's when you know you're not on a credible site.
A lot of the stuff would have Bitcoin casino and that type of stuff adds up, and those sites are often less reputable than sites that don't have that type of banner advertising. But it's always a good way for these sites to make money is to try to get people to gamble with their Bitcoins.
That's probably a really big part of what people do with Bitcoin, huh?
Yeah, for a while there, Eric Voorhees' Satoshi Dice, over half the Bitcoin traffic was just from that gambling site.
Just that one?
Just from his site, yeah. Half of the
That's
Bitcoin
nuts.
transactions was from his site. I don't know what percentage gambling transactions make up now of the Bitcoin network.
Now that it's becoming all legit.
It's becoming more and more legit, more and more mainstream, all the time. It takes, I think, 7 mentions, or what branding experts or branding people say. It takes about 7 mentions for, a branding to take hold. So we're getting to the point where people have heard Bitcoin, they know what it is. It's not a Ponzi scheme. It's not fake money. It's a legitimate currency. It's the internet of money. It's money over IP. And we're at that point now where Bitcoin branding has taken over, and everybody, knows, or not everybody, most people know what it is, have a general view of it, know that it's money, know that it's used for illegal activities, those type of things, but hasn't really got to the point of mainstream adoption yet, but it will. MetaMask just released, not unleashed, but they do have a developer's beta for their Chrome plugin. Ethereum, in order to send transactions currently, right now, you have to have a full client. So you have to download the Ethereum software, have it running on your computer, and then you can, send and receive transactions. So you have to download the entire blockchain. It's, I don't know exactly. It's gigabytes in size. With MetaMask, now you can turn your Chrome browser into an Ethereum compatible website. So there are sites that run dApps, distributed applications that are built in Ethereum using Web 3.0 components, and so now those all work. It's truly amazing. It's something that I'm not even sure if Bitcoin has something similar in the works even yet. In browser cryptocurrency payments. And now we have that with Ethereum. So that was really, really exciting.
So what does that mean when I have a Jack's wallet? And so I have my Ethereum. I have a little account for it. I have it in my world on my phone, but it's not what you're saying. It's like it has its own language. Is this just like a little micro base on my phone, the Jack's wallet with it? I mean, what does that...
So with the Jack's wallet, you are... Jack's is hosting the node, and your wallet communicates with them. So you have an encrypted private key on your phone, but all the transactions happen...
Oh, I see.
Through Jax's node. But that's not like a full web experience. You have a separate application. You have a client that communicates with Jax's server, and Jax's has the node. MetaMask does something similar, except now it's right in your Chrome browser. So right alongside other websites. Ethereum-enabled websites now can coexist with regular websites.
So that Flux app must work like a Jack's wallet then.
I imagine the Flux app is probably not fully built yet. I think they just kind of like, my guess is that they just have like a prototype that doesn't actually function. They just kind of like have like a wish of what they want it to look like.
They're trying to show the world this is possible. We can do this.
This is what we hope to happen. I would doubt that they actually have an existing working voter on that looks that nice, that uses the blockchain.
Yeah, which is probably what Dan meant when he said it's not a real thing.
No, I think he was just talking about the party. The party really doesn't have much political influence.
Yeah.
But maybe. You're really excited about this democracy stuff, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, I like that part of it a lot.
Trying to move away from the way we do things. And that's...
Well, we all know it's corrupt. That's the funny part. Everybody just agrees to go along with something that's corrupt. That we all know. Like, no. We don't guess. We don't just... I don't know anybody who actually thinks that we live in a country where everything is functioning smoothly. It doesn't happen that way. This is like a fabulous... Yeah, you're right. That's my favorite part, I think.
And we defend it, because it's better than other systems. But in that, we, miss out that we could have even something better than what we have.
Right. And it doesn't mean that it has to come tumbling down. In fact, that's this particular video that I was talking about earlier was explaining. It's like, all right, listen, man, you don't have to give up everything you know, everything that you wave your flag over and hold so precious and sacred. You can still have those things. You can just actually vote on them in a clear fashion and have them mean something so that you don't just have to go, well, I guess I only have two choices and I have to pick one or the other because life is completely black or white.
Oh, and you have to pick them every 4 years, and you can only pick a person that will then determine every position for you for the next 4 years.
And these ones suck so bad. Nobody wants these choices. Nobody likes them.
98% of the decisions they're going to make are going to be exactly the same. So it doesn't matter which one you pick. They're going to basically do the exact same thing.
Not in your interest.
We didn't even talk about the Wendy's credit card hack or the Turkey Coup.
Wendy's?
Yeah.
Tell me about Wendy's first. This is more important.
Yeah. I've been seeing a lot of Wendy's in my world lately.
Just kidding. But seriously.
I don't know. About 1,000 stores were hacked. So attackers got away with, if you went to Wendy's, all of your, your name, your credit card number, your expiration date, the verification code.
I'm ruined. I mean, is that any credit card used at Wendy's?
Yeah, at the 1,000 stores or whatever. So they offer like free credit monitoring service. And I bring it up just because, whenever something bad happens in the crypto space, all the naysayers like point out to it. And I can, always point out some recent credit card hack that happened as well. So.
For sure, all the time.
At first I thought you meant there was like a special card you could get for Wendy's. And I was thinking about it.
It was not a good experience.
Like the platinum, only like the red.
There was some news with one of the Bitcoin Visa cards. People who have Bitcoin can, depending on what country they're in, they have different choices for, getting like a debit card that you can, use, that they can use at a, place that accepts credit card, and then deducts their balance in Bitcoin immediately, does an exchange for them, and they just partnered with Shapeshift. So you can use any major cryptocurrency with their Visa card. So you can go to the store thinks you're just a normal customer spending Visa, but it's really backed by cryptocurrency. And it can be any cryptocurrency that Shapeshift supports.
And it's like a credit card shape, and you look like it's all normal and nobody knows that you're actually from the future.
Looks exactly like any other Visa card. The cashier.
That's very clever.
Wouldn't
very clever.
Notice anything different about it. Yeah.
What's that called?
Well, depending on what country you're in, there's different ones. The one that just started accepting any cryptocurrency, I don't even remember which one it is right now. So let me look it up.
It reminds me of Terminator 2 when the kid, John Connor, goes up to an ATM with his little credit card hack machine.
I remember this.
He puts it in.
Yeah.
And then Skynet kills us all.
What about Skynet?
There is no
I had to
fate
bring up
but what you
Skynet
make
at
for
least once.
yourself. That was the best Terminator. It really was.
I didn't even see the new one. That's how
Oh, yeah. No.
detached I am.
Oh, yeah. No.
It had Arnold.
Yeah, but no. How can it have Arnold? I mean, what did they do? They must have like put.
He loves Terminator. That's his thing.
I'm not against any of that. I just a machine can't age, and a human does.
Turkey had a coup today, a military coup.
Indeed.
Coup d'etat.
So you can see all the people in line at the ATMs trying to get their money out. It's one of the sad things about this space when sad's the right word, but there's like epicaricacy. You know what that is?
No.
Epicaricacy is a very, very little known used word, about as little known used in English as the word Schadenfreude. I'm talking about that, like, very, very little used word in German about like taking pleasure in other people's misery.
Yeah, I knew that sounded familiar.
Schadenfreude, or whatever. I don't even know how to pronounce it. But there's an English equivalent of the word, and it's used about as often as the German word.
Yeah, the joy derived from others' pain.
Yeah. And the community gets really excited when these events, or some people in the community get excited when these events happen, where, a state crumbles and there's around the banks because their currency is, being devalued. And it's sad because some people's lives will be ruined because of this.
Because of the coup.
Better get that Bitcoin fast.
And that's the answer in the space is that, they should be taking, their assets and putting them into a more stable something like Bitcoin, but it's too late at that point. You can't get the money out. There's no money in the banks anymore. Everybody's done a run on it. I don't know if that's happened in Turkey, but it happens in places like Greece. It happened, in other places. So there's always a bit of Schadenfreude.
What's the English equivalent?
Epicaricacy.
Epicaricacy. You know what one of my favorites is? Backpfeifengesicht. That's another one.
What's that? Gesundheit?
That is the German word for a face that cries out for a fist to be put into it. Also known as that kid from Game of Thrones, the king, the little blonde king. That's a Backpfeifengesicht. Who else has got a Backpfeifengesicht? We were watching something. I was like, ugh, what a Backpfeifengesicht.
Last Kingdom.
Yes.
Full of them.
There's one of them in there too.
Floki from Vikings.
Oh, that's a Backpfeifengesicht. Well, he doesn't really have it innately like that. It's more of like that other kid
voice.
does. Yeah, it's more his goofy affect that he does. We just like to talk like a baby. No Viking talks like a baby and survives. That's ridiculous.
We'll never know. We'll also never really
Vikings
know how Abraham Lincoln sounded. Apparently, Daniel Day-Lewis had it pretty close on the movie, but we will never know because we didn't have recordings. It was said that he had a shrill voice.
A shrill voice?
Yeah.
Shrill.
High, shrill voice. And it helped him orate.
That ruins everything. Shrill. Abraham Lincoln. Shrill?
I don't even know. Have you seen Lincoln? It was really boring. Interesting.
Bummer.
Slow.
Did we lose Steve again?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
He just doesn't care about Lincoln.
Not many people care about Lincoln.
He had like some sort of... He was suffering from depression or something.
Yeah.
He also was narcoleptic, I think.
I didn't know that.
I'm just making stuff up. I don't know if it's true.
Depression's true. He actually poisoned himself with mercury. They had some sort of like depression cure back then. I can't remember the name of the pills, but they recreated it and tested it, and it had like 1,000 times the amount of mercury.
Amazing.
Of the safe limit. But
the science is in. I can fix your depression.
He told his friend he had to stop doing it because it I can't remember. It fucked up his brain, and then he got shot in the head.
Oh.
First one to go. He fucked with the federal banks, though.
Badass.
Is that pretty common thing that people do presidents do before they get killed?
Seems to be.
Andrew Jackson had a few assassination attempts. He survived. He shut down the second bank of the United States. Yeah, it's not a good thing.
It's a great thing. It's just
not for your health. I mean,
yeah.
And they're coming for you next.
I'm not shutting down any banks. Don't worry.
I love banks.
I'm a proud member of J.P. Morgan Chase Bank.
Are you proud? That's a filthy lie.
They are raising minimum wage at J.P. Morgan Chase. That made the news.
Really?
Yeah, I guess they're going to pay their low-level employees more money. I don't know. Something that they're going to make everybody... I don't know. They're going to raise minimum wage within the bank.
That's why we're getting so many overdraft charges.
Overdraft charges? Like, you're going to charge me money because I don't have enough money?
Hilarious.
Those jerks, they just lined up a bunch from stuff that was taken care of.
Yeah, we got.
We'll just say, they probably won't be too lazy to challenge them. Maybe they won't bother to challenge it. We'll just
Yeah, one day.
like 4 in a row. That did not just happen.
That's never happened before. Usually we'll get like 1, and I'll contest it and win. And then they give us 4, which is over $100 in overdraft charges in one night.
Ugh.
And I'm like, dude, I took care of that. And they're like, we can't override it though because it's more than 3.
It's in the code.
And we can only let go of 3 per year.
Gee, I wish I could, but I can't.
Like, you're evil.
Banks are incredibly, incredibly evil. They'll wait until they have enough transactions. They'll rework their books to make you pay the largest fee possible. So if your first transaction was like a small transaction and your second and third one were larger transactions, they'll reorder it so you pay the most in overdraft fees. So they'll put your your largest transaction first, and then reorder it from largest to smallest, because that'll because you'll run out of money first. And they'll say it's like, oh, because your first one might be your mortgage payment, and so we want to make sure that goes through. It's done for them to make the most money, and they'll also like move transactions over a day or so. Mm-hmm. So they'll kind of like rework it so they get the most fees for that.
Their buck.
It's ridiculous. I mean, why not? Whatever transaction comes in first, that's the one you post first. That makes the most sense to me. Not reordering them from largest to smallest and then moving them from, collecting them all on one day and then hitting you with all of them. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That means you're a good man. You should stand by that stance. If you have to try to do all these mental gymnastics to figure out the nasty, nasty, nasty thoughts to...
I guess that's what we get for using the Bank of Rockefeller that was bought by JP Morgan.
Is that how that went?
Yep.
You ever hear of a book called, The Sinking of the Titan?
Is that good? Sinking of the Titan?
I didn't read it. It was a book that... It was all the rage in like 1890s. Yeah. I'd like to see if that really existed, because I read this funny article about that.
What's going on with your other podcast? What episode you got? What's the latest episode on that one?
Well, the awakening did happen, and now I have a couple more that I am excited about, but particularly the next one. I don't know what I'm going to call it. I'm open to suggestions, but I have been flooded with a bunch of very fascinating information, and it's been coming my way for a long time. I have a lot of neat little bits from how I've become disillusioned with the current state of, let's just say, how we perceive and treat mental health in this country. Let's just say this country, because that's what I know.
Yeah.
I was quite disillusioned with it after having worked in the field for a very long time and knowing it in many different capacities. And then it's led me to TED Talks and other people I've grown to admire on sort of the shift I think that's occurring within that. And that's, I don't know what to call that podcast, but something to do with craziness.
Oh, craziness.
Yeah. Crazies.
Gonna be part of the problem then, huh?
Well, as a crazy person, I get to say that, don't I?
No, I don't think so. You do? Crazy?
Yeah. I mean, I'm white as white can be, so I don't get to say the N-word. Even if I try, it's never going to sound right.
Yeah, but
I'm
think
crazy.
Calling women crazy in the future is going to be like calling a black person the N-word.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's not going to be...
well, it's always dumb. It's always dumb. Especially if you try to have it in any way tie to any hormonal changes happening within them, dismissing behavior.
What's worse, crazy or see you next Tuesday?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think that's one of the funny things is that excuse me. I think that what is
what is with the comedian who thinks like moist is like a bad word?
Oh, it's funny. Yeah, why was I hearing that? Or maybe that was an NPR thing. It was just words that make people freak out.
Who freaks out at the word moist?
Oh, most people.
Why?
I remember an Onion article
a
long time ago that had it was like top 10 words that make junior high kids giggle, and moist was like the top one, as well as ball peen hammer and Lake Titicaca.
Ball peen hammer, that's hilarious.
Ball peen's pretty good.
Poo poo platter.
But moist. How old are we?
Blockchain show.